Welcome into Jags A.M. presented by Jet Home Loans today. We are back in our studio after our 2 weeks away in London. Brian Sexton and John Oehser join me as we get ready for the Packers this week, but we're also going to recap a little bit of what went down in London, specifically that second game against the Patriots. Let's start out with big things. Big thing number one, going to be about being tough enough. They were just tough enough to beat the Patriots, fell down 10-0 early, but able to battle their way back. Tank Bigsby talked about having fun and kind of feeding off of each other in the game.
We worked hard this week after we lost when the first game down. We did a lot of work this week and leaned on each other and said we got to go out and have fun. And I feel like we got back to having fun. Offense started picking it up, and I felt like defense fed off the energy. And then we felt the energy, and it just kept going. So that's the contagious thing about this game. When one side clicked, the other side will get going, and that's the best thing about it. I feel like we all clicked, and we just got to keep doing it.
Brian, we saw the offense respond, falling down 10-0 early, but then battling back. We haven't seen a ton of that this year. That was good to see in way of their win.
It was. They were tough enough for the Patriots. We're going to find out. I mean, they've got a stretch here with teams that have won at least 5 games for the next 4 or 5 weeks. So we'll find out if they're tough enough for the Packers, who are a much different team altogether. But I thought Mitch Morse said it best, John. He talked about how they were down 10 and they talked to each other in the huddle about not thinking we had to go get all 10 points in this drive, which you obviously can't do anyway, but let's get some points. And then it became let's get the field goal, and then they got to the 10-yard line. All right, let's get a touchdown, and they did. And from that point, they kind of got on a roll and went up 25-10. So they can be tough, but it's kind of like muscle memory. I mean, you've got to be able to go right to toughness mode when things get difficult. And we'll find out on Sunday against Green Bay if they've got that kind of toughness memory.
Yeah, I mean, you can say all you want, well, the Patriots are 1-6, they're not this, they're not this. You play who you play. The Patriots certainly had enough to get up on them. I don't know if the Jaguars are great, but I think this game on Sunday, meaning the Patriots game, it gave them a chance to earn a chance, meaning you're 2-5. If you get a couple here, then all of a sudden you get back to 4-5. So they have a lot of proving to do. On Sunday comes their chance to prove it. I don't know, Kai, if they proved anything to anybody on Sunday, but boy, they needed a win.
They absolutely needed it. Big thing number 2 going to be the switch up. When we talk about that win, things didn't go great for the defense. That's an issue. That's a big issue for this team so far this season. But Tyson Campbell back on the field for the first time in a while. He talked about that start and how the team came together to get things back on track.
We had a lot of silly penalties. Was putting in a lot of positions where we kind of gave them plays, but we huddled up before a drive. I think it was going into the second quarter. I huddled the guys up. Like, hey, it's us. Just as long as we play smart, have fun, play to the whistle, they can't beat us. And we fixed it. We got the result we wanted.
John, Tyson Campbell's return to the secondary, they desperately needed that. We also saw some other changes elsewhere on the defensive side of the football. Didn't start great, but they finished better. Yeah,
it's funny how perception is in this league. And I think what I'm getting at there is Tyson had a chance, I think, at a pick. Andre Cisco had a chance at a pick, I think, if I remember it right. Mm-hmm. You get those picks, you're off the field, and this concern over the defense is so much different moving forward. I don't think this is a great defense, but when it has its hands on the balls, they need to make the plays. At some point, I think the Packers have 17 takeaways. Jaguars have 2 defensively. That's what needs to start changing when you have the opportunities to make plays. This defense has to make them. And then all of a sudden, the runs that the other team get don't seem so tragic, Brian.
I want to see what they do next, right? Because they tweaked some things and it worked in the secondary. They moved Eric Armstead, I think, inside more than we've seen him, Kai, and he was productive. But they got to fix the problem that they've got at linebacker. It doesn't appear that Devin Lloyd can cover a tight end. And listen, I don't know all the coverages, so it might not always be on him. But they struggled the last 2 weeks against tight ends, and they're going to keep seeing it and seeing it and seeing it. They are going to have to be able to cover the underneath. The one thing that you do see from the Buffalo game forward is they attack the edges of the Jaguars defense and try to make guys run sideways. And they haven't done a very good job at covering that tight end position. Hopefully Foye Oluokun can get back in the game and the Jaguars can shift things around and try something different with that group.
That leads us into our final big thing, which is backup plan. The 21-day practice window was opened for linebacker Foye Oluokun and also safety Andrew Wingard, who's been out since early in training camp. So, Brian, a little help is on the way, and this may change some of the other things we've seen even more. Yeah, they have got to figure some things out. We have seen what the change at safety did with Darnell Savage getting in there. Listen, Dewey's a really good player. And he's got a role on this team, and they have missed having him out there. Oluokun, he's not a star, but he's a really good player, and he gets guys lined up. And perhaps that's what's missing, is that person that checks into coverages, and Devin doesn't do it as well as Foye does. I think Ventrell Miller is a guy who goes forward and makes tackles really well, but is still figuring the coverage part out. So maybe having Foye Oluokun next to him, John, helps him get settled. Yeah, I think the NFL these days is not as full of instinctive football players as it was when I was growing up. Now, get off my lawn. But that being said, I think this defense needs guys like that. I think Ventrell Miller's that. To our point right now, I think Andrew Wingard and Foye Oluokun are two of the more instinctive playmaking, have a good feel for their surroundings guys on this defense. On that front, getting those guys back will help immeasurably when you've got guys who know where they need to be. Absolutely. All right, stay with us here on Jags A.M. We're going to go over some of the best plays from the Jags win in London over the Patriots.
Navigating the current housing market and figuring out your best move when it comes to a mortgage isn't your full-time job, but it's one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. That's where the experts at Jet Home Loans get into the game and coach you to your ultimate goal of getting not just the right loan, but the perfect loan for you, the home of your dreams. Jet Home Loans works with you all the way, from application to closing, making sure your game plan is perfect. Make the call to Jet Home Loans and let their team join your team to make your dreams take flight. Visit jethl.com.
To aim higher, run faster. It's what elite athletes do. Always strive for better. At UF Health, we have that same DNA. To not just treat a stroke, but to create a fleet of mobile stroke treatment units. To not just do research, but to use AI to save lives with one of the most powerful supercomputers in academia. We believe, like athletes, that human progress has no finish line. UF Health, National Medical Center for Team USA.
Are you ready for a taste bud touchdown? Well, Jags fans, if you're at the bank and craving a snack that's shell-shockingly good, look no further than Luray Peanut Company's boiled peanuts. Picture this, you in the stands, cheering on your Jaguars, and in one hand, a bag of piping hot boiled peanuts. With original or Cajun to choose from, they're so delicious, you'll wonder where they've been all your life. So grab them while they're hot and get back to the game. And as always, Duval. Luray boiled peanuts, where every nut is a winner.
Hey Jaguars fans, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why they've built the Crown Royal Rig. An absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly.
Check this out, the new iPhone 16 built for Apple Intelligence. At Verizon, you can get it when you trade in any phone from one of their top brands.
Any?
Any.
Even if it's 4 years old?
Yeah.
Even if it's 4 years old and I drop it on the sidewalk?
Yep.
Even if it's 4 years old and I drop it on the sidewalk, then a scooter runs it over, so now it's not just old and cracked, but shattered?
With Verizon, the answer is always yes. Trade in any phone from one of our top brands for the new iPhone 16 with Unlimited Ultimate. Plus, get a new iPad. Trade-in terms apply. See Verizon.com for details. Apple Intelligence coming fall 2024.
Are you ready for some football? Well, you are now, thanks to Ticketmaster. As the official ticket marketplace of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the NFL, Ticketmaster's got the best way to take it to the house when it comes to being there live. They're the safest and most convenient marketplace to score fully verified Jaguars tickets. And even if your plans get broken up or worse, turned over, Ticketmaster gives you more flexibility to sell your seats. So get those touchdown celebrations ready and score your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Jaguars.
They were in basically a cover 4 quarters look, and safeties were low, and that was honestly the look we were wanting for that play. And we had another option if that wasn't the coverage and the situation, but Brian did a great job of just running at the corner, keeping outside leverage, and just running, and then I'd put it out there and let him go make a play. It was a great catch. You know, he's good at that. He's been making a lot of plays for us, so it's fun to watch him. It's fun to play with him, and just to see him get better every week. We got to keep using him.
Welcome back to Jags A.M. brought to you by Fields Auto Group in Jacksonville. And Trevor Lawrence talking right there about that catch by Brian Thomas Jr., probably the prettiest play I saw in that game, but we'll go over some other stuff as well. But just a beautiful throw and catch. And it's nice to see that connection with them. Obviously, Brian's a rookie, but sometimes Trevor takes time to build up that relationship with your quarterback, and he clearly trusts him already.
You know, people have probably heard the term playing above the X's and O's. I mean, that's what Brian Thomas does. I mean, he makes a play when it doesn't execute perfectly, right? Like that ball was thrown and the defensive back, John, was in the one place where he could make a play, and Brian still managed, while going to the ground, to pull the ball in and not lose it when his body hit the ground. It was a tremendous play on the fundamentals, but more so than that, he just went and made it.
It would have been easy, had he not caught it, you'd have said, well,
yeah,
tough catch, too tough.
Perfect coverage, yeah.
I think absolutely Brian Thomas Jr. is, him and Tank Bigsby are the stories of the season so far. But credit to Trevor, too. He as you said, Brian, there was nothing wrong with that throw. It was perfectly placed. Remember 3 weeks ago when he
missed it?
Everybody in the world said this kid can't throw deep.
Yeah.
Well, that was overreactionary. He can clearly throw deep. He's thrown fine deep the last couple of weeks. And he's steadied the ship. Even when the team has not been playing great the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's won, but I wouldn't say that they have been outstanding. He's done a nice job of steadying the ship when there was a lot of noise going on in the ship.
Well, and he's mentally tough because he missed Brian on that sideline route at Tottenham against the Bears. And you could just see the look on his face. And the next week he comes back, fearlessly throws the ball right down. And Gonzalez was right with him. Gonzalez can really run, the cornerback for the Patriots. And he put the ball out there and went for it. So I want to give him credit because, he questioned his team and their mental toughness and talked about fragility. And then he went out there and did not play fragile.
Did not play fragile at all. Let's look at some of the highlights from the game, or some of the big plays at least. We talked about the team getting down early, right? The Patriots scored on their first possession, and the way they scored wasn't really pretty either. Some sort of defensive breakdown on that play. It was just, for me, I was concerned with their mental state because of how they've been dealing with getting down early and fighting back, haven't been able to do that. But proved me wrong. Absolutely. I almost appreciate the fact that they did get down early and had to battle back, because it proved to me that they have it within them to do that.
Yeah, sometimes when you're playing a team that doesn't quite know what it is yet, and I think the Patriots fit that. The Patriots are still trying to figure it out. So on this drive, it felt like they were doing things that maybe they hadn't seen on film a whole lot.
Yeah.
Made a couple plays, got it. That happens, and what good teams do in that situation, they figure it out, they stop, and then you realize very quickly who the better team is. It happened exactly the opposite for the Jaguars week before that. As soon as the Bears figured them out in Tottenham, you said, uh-oh, this is an overmatched team. It felt that way at Tottenham for the Jaguars. It felt that way very quickly in the second quarter on Sunday.
That was a case. You've got a defense that's not getting pressure with the front four, and that's what Ryan Nielsen's scheme is about, so you can play man coverage on the back end. And so they tried some sort of a zone blitz kind of scheme that had Josh running across the field to get out there. I mean, it was a mismatch, and it was the wrong play call at the wrong time, because you saw the play that Patriots just ran out there. I mean, you hate to see that because you want to see Josh attacking the quarterback, but if you're not getting there and you want to try things and you want guys to be innovative and try to find a moment, well, that was what they did. It just was the wrong moment.
Yeah, I also thought Josh could have gotten some better help. He actually, at his angle, I thought he made the right play, trying to force him back inside, and then he got
Cisco
nothing.
Behind him. Yeah, absolutely.
That happens.
Let's talk a little bit more about Trevor. He also had a great throw to Kirk over the middle in this game. I think was probably one of his best throws of the day, leading to their first touchdown of the game. And we know Trevor can make these throws, but it's always nice to see him do it on stages like this. when you need it, right? We just talked about you had to come down and score on this drive to keep it within range and to make that, put it in the perfect spot for Kirk and then finish it off with a touchdown.
In the whole first quarter, they had 5 plays,
Yeah.
right? I mean, 25 yards. And so this is their second drive, and you're like, hey, this is really important because you're down 10-0. And to hit his back foot there on 2nd and long and just let the ball go. And of course, it's no surprise that he threw right at Christian Kirk, the guy he probably has the most confidence in being where he's supposed to be.
Yeah, a couple of big-time plays there. He threw to the second level to Kirk and threw over, I think it was a safety, maybe a linebacker. A really precise throw that's tougher to make than it looks. Once it's completed, it looks easy. But it's a tough throw to make. And then they scored, I think, on 3rd down in the red zone. That's hard to do. Remember, they didn't do it the week before when but they executed the play with Gabe Davis. If they're starting, that's some pretty good execution red zone wise. I mean, I'm even going to call it good execution on the drop against the Bears because the play was there. They seem to be getting a little more precise in the red zone. That's important, and it could pay off if they start getting in games as they go on.
Let's take a look at the video of that throw to Brian Thomas Jr. that we referenced off the top, because it really is just, I was sitting next to John and I saw him getting ready to throw it, and I was excited to see the jump ball aspect of it because, as you mentioned, Brian, Christian Gonzalez is a first-round pick, their top corner there in New England of a defense last year that was very, very good. And he played it about as precisely as you could, and there's so many aspects to it when you see the different angles of just kind of looking over his shoulder to get it, bringing it in even with the hand on top of him, and then just perfect placement for where Brian was going to be.
It was. And when you see some of the various angles of how the ball shifted and Brian had to get between the arm of Gonzalez that was there and pull it in. But I want to point out the blocking because that's a big throw, and you've got to be able to wind up and make that throw from deep in the pocket. And if there had been any leakage in the protection at all, he wouldn't have had the time to do that. The offensive line is playing better football than they have at any point of the season. And by the way, was Cam in on that throw, or had Cam already left the game? Was
he left
Walker
after 5 plays.
Yeah. So, I mean, to have a backup left tackle holding his own out there and to have everybody else playing well, the offensive line gave him a chance to do that.
Look, how many more games in a row does Brian Thomas have to do special before we just realize this is what he is? And I think everybody realizes it. He does something each game. The catch on the 2-point conversion was a big-time catch. He has a knack for in big situations coming down with the ball that this team hasn't had, I guess, since Jimmy, right? So you've now gotten to the point with this kid where when he has single coverage, throw the ball up and see what happens. They haven't had that definitely since I've been back in 2011, but I guess since Jimmy in 2004, 2005.
Well, there was that sequence in the second quarter where they handed it to him on a reverse and they threw it to him short. I mean, they gave him the ball 3 or 4 different times in 5 or 6 plays, and you could just see the suddenness, the twitchiness, the explosiveness waiting to come through for him, and he just couldn't. They had it defended just well enough, but you just get the sense, John, just keep giving the ball, it's going to be, 3, bam, 63.
Well, so many times this year, early in the season, he had big plays on 3 of their 4 early touchdowns. The other day, he caught the touchdown, he had the 58-yarder set the second touchdown, and then after Parker Washington's score, he had the 2-point conversion. This kid's involved and special in big moments.
Just what we need, absolutely, especially at a first-round pick. Let's talk a little bit about Parker Washington's record-setting punt return for them. That was a huge punt. He was backing up, and I was a little concerned about it, but he clearly had the vision to see the giant holes in front of him, and before you know it, he was all the way through, and there was nobody near him except the punter, and then he beat him.
Well, there was some football sense there too, Brian. He mentioned in the postgame he knew that the Patriots punter was out-kicking the coverage. So he figured that he was going to get a chance for a return if he caught it. I haven't asked Doug about it, but I'm sure at first he was like, okay, good. It was one of those plays, because if you let it go, you have field position. But they haven't had enough plays like this where something above the X's and O's went their way. And again, a second-year player with some football sense who makes a play.
I mean, the rule is you don't field a punt inside the 5-yard line, and yet
there are no rules, Brian.
Well, apparently
when you score, you can break the rules.
Analytics changed all that. I just want to point out that that's the Jaguars' backup punt returner, Devin Duvernay, the free agent they signed from the Baltimore Ravens, is on injured reserve, and so you put Parker out there, and he comes up with a play. I think maybe he should be your primary punt returner.
I think this clearly has given him confidence. This is something we talked about with the younger players, whether it was Tank at certain points or now Parker Washington, trying to get them confident because he's had ball security issues as well, which I think has been maybe why they were hesitant at points and maybe why they signed Devin Duvernay in the offseason. But clearly he's shown that he has that special playability to be able to flip the field or even score for them. So hopefully getting better as we go along.
I'd also like to see if maybe that doesn't get him a greater role in the offense, because we know that he's got that suddenness, that quickness. I mean, he's not going to stretch the field like Brian Thomas does, but underneath, I mean, you get a mismatch with him on a linebacker. If you can get that, I'm no offensive coordinator. I just see a guy who can make things happen.
Yeah, it's tough to get him in the offense because he's so much like Christian in a lot of ways that in the packages it's hard to get Christian out and him in, but he's earning it, no question.
Yeah, maybe utilize him kind of in where they use ETN sometimes because he's going to be out for a little bit with his hamstring injury. We'll see going forward. Of course, we couldn't go through a game without Doug Peterson wanting to go for it on a 4th down. The analytics probably say don't do that, but in my heart and soul, I knew Doug wasn't going to be able to not do it. Is it just him being consistent at this point? Like maybe the players just want to be on the same page with him too, or he doesn't have the ability to not do it?
I don't know where to go with this other than you have a chance with a football team that desperately needed to win, that you desperately wanted to build some confidence with, to go up 3 scores. And instead, you gave them a chance to hit a 33-yard play, a 32-yard play, and a 22-yard touchdown. And if they'd hit the extra point, they would have gone from potentially being in a 3-score game to a 1. Hey, you just kick the field goal and get your team to the victory lane, right, with the win and talk about it. I didn't like at all.
No. Well, every fiber of what we grew up on, Brian, tells you to go up that many, and I certainly would have. I'm sure what Doug was thinking is we have just run 17 plays. They were in the midst of 17 straight runs.
Yeah.
He felt like they were overpowering it. Let's show confidence in this offensive line that has been bashed. I'm not saying I'd have done it. I think that was his thinking, and in that case, I couldn't agree with it. But I think that's what he was thinking.
I get that, and I know who he is because I've watched him too. And I can go back to the 2-point conversion against the Ravens in 2022, but that was a different story. This is a team that we talked all week long about fighting till the end and about being strong and not fragile. And it just seemed to me that it was too good of an opportunity to put your team in a chance to go out there, all right, we're going to play defense now with an 18-point lead. There are times where you can let your ego, right, and the moment I want to slam it through, but you missed on 3rd down and 1. So, come on, let's let our football intellect, which Doug has an abundance of, I've heard him talk, he knows it, they won, so it isn't an issue, but that was a case where you kick.
Always easier to go over after a win, that's
you
for
bet.
sure. Stay with us here on Jags A.M. Coming up after the break, we'll do a little this or that as we look into some potential changes next week.
To define a great deal in today's new home market, because the so-called great deals that you find on every corner just aren't the same as the incredible opportunities you'll find with a new Dreamfinders home. How about 2.99% in year 1 in one of Dreamfinders' 15 communities across North Florida? Now that's a great deal. 2.99% interest rate in year 1 and a beautiful new Dreamfinders home. Visit dfhsalesevent.com for our largest savings of the year on move-in ready homes. That's dfhsalesevent.com.
When disaster strikes, trust the experts at Surf Pro. As a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they bring the same dedication and precision to restoring your property as the Jaguars do on the field. Whether it's water, fire, or storm damage, their highly trained professionals are on call 24/7 to make it like it never even happened. Surf Pro, your local leader in restoration and cleanup.
To aim higher, run faster. It's what elite athletes do. Always strive for better. At UF Health, we have that same DNA to not just treat a stroke, but to create a fleet of mobile stroke treatment units, to not just do research, but to use AI to save lives with one of the most powerful supercomputers in academia. We believe, like athletes, that human progress has no finish line. UF Health, National Medical Center for Team USA.
Hey Jaguars fans, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why they've built the Crown Royal Rig. An absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields, and we have some great news. Fields has the vehicle you want, in stock, priced right, and ready for delivery.
Fields Auto Group is Jacksonville's luxury automotive destination for Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Inventory is back and available for immediate delivery.
And every Fields customer can take advantage of our Fields Amenities program with complimentary loaners, car washes, and our cafes. You deserve the best.
Stop by today or go to fieldsauto.com.
Are you ready for some football? Well, you are now, thanks to Ticketmaster. As the official ticket marketplace of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the NFL, Ticketmaster's got the best way to take it to the house when it comes to being there live. They're the safest and most convenient marketplace to score fully verified Jaguars tickets. And even if your plans get broken up or worse, turned over, Ticketmaster gives you more flexibility to sell your seats. So get those touchdown celebrations ready and score your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Jaguars.
For 11 years, Dreamfinders Homes have been proud to call themselves the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for all of the available inventory, and go Jags.
This or that. This or that.
Welcome back into Jags A.M. presented by Jet Home Loans today. We're going to do a little this or that as we look ahead to some potential defensive changes and offensive changes. We'll actually start out with the offensive line. We've been pretty complimentary of them and give them some credit because we were very not complimentary of them for quite some time, but they've been playing well, especially the last maybe 3-4 games. But Walker Little coming in as Cam Robinson out with a concussion. He's in the concussion protocol. We don't know when he will get cleared, but Walker Little played pretty well yesterday, Ryan. Do you keep him in there? Do you ride the hot hand, or do you put Cam Robinson back when he's ready?
Well, I mean, you heard Doug after the game say that he believed that Travis Etienne was still the starting running back because you don't lose your job to injury. So we know what the head coach's philosophy is here. I advocated early on when Cam was struggling to put Walker Little in because Walker Little is playing for a contract. Now, you can argue that Cam Little is too because they're both free agents. Cam's gotten paid. Walker hasn't. Walker's trying to get that bite of the apple, and tackles make big money. I'm betting, John, on the human condition that hunger and desperation gives me a guy who will go out and play his best football. And by the way, you drafted him with a second-round pick because you expected, by some token, he would be your left tackle of the future.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're fine if Walker plays. I don't for a minute that he's going to believe that he's going to play over a healthy Cam Robinson because Cam Robinson, I still think, is the best left tackle on the team, and because of Doug's philosophy. So what'll be interesting on Sunday is if Walker Little plays, does that affect the chemistry and cohesion they've been talking about? I don't think it will. I think they're in a good situation because he's played 17 games for this team, and he's played a lot. So I don't worry about that. I think they have a unique situation, and they can have that with 6 or 7 guys and not just 5.
It is interesting because this general manager drafted Walker Little, and you've got 2 tackles who are leaving, at least as of right now. Wouldn't you like to find out if this young player is who you thought he was? Do you give him more time in the starting lineup so you can make a proper evaluation for your future, especially in a year that you're 2-5 and skating uphill to try to get into the playoffs anyway?
Something to keep an eye on. That's certainly his best position as well. As we mentioned, we've seen Walker play at different parts of the line, left tackle, It's clearly where he plays his best. So we'll keep an eye on that and Cam Robinson's status coming up this week against the Packers. My other this or that going to be about the linebackers. We told you that Foye Oluokun's practice window is open. He's missed a month with plantar fasciitis, but he should be available soon. We've seen him around the team a lot. So when it comes to your linebackers, guys, what's this going to look like? Foye, I assume, is definitely one of your starters, but Devin Lloyd, Ventrell Miller has been making plays. You think they'll do something similar to what they've been doing with Darby and Monteric Brown and kind of splitting them up, or do you think it'll be an obvious 2 starters?
I think they'll continue to rotate, but Brian, I can't believe that they won't balance it toward Ventrell playing more. I mean, Devin Lloyd hasn't been hurt. Ventrell has outplayed him. He's played very well. I mean, you can make an argument that Ventrell is the most instinctive playmaker, fun having, all that stuff that you want to see out of a linebacker that they've had here in a while, maybe including Foye. Now, Foye has been better, more consistent, knows the defense. You don't bench Foye, Luke. I'm not getting at that. But Ventrell Miller, it's hard to argue that he shouldn't be on the field.
It's Miller. You watch, and you don't have to be any sort of an expert to know that when he hits people, they go down. I so desperately would love to see Devin Lloyd reach his potential. You don't see many 6'3", 240-pound linebackers because those guys become edge rushers in college football these days and don't pass through the linebacker. He's got the height, he's got the length, he's got the speed. I like him a lot, but it always seems where there's an error, 33 is somewhere there. So I think he's got to go to the sidelines in favor of Ventrell Miller and try to fix his game.
Yeah, teams key on Devin. They know that he's going to do that. When presented with certain situations, he's going to bite. He's been doing it too long now. So again, I would just be surprised if it's not Ventrell Miller playing a lot more.
They gave Devin a sack for the hit that he made on Drake May right at the line of scrimmage. He hit it with such force, I thought, all right, that's what I want to see from 33. And then he got turned around by the tight ends. Ventrell Miller is a better linebacker right now.
All right, we'll see what that looks like. Also, we know the way Ryan Nielsen substitutes, it might be a split thing. We might see a lot of different combinations going forward, but keeping an eye on that as Foye Oluokun may be activated this week. His practice window is open. Stay with us here. We will talk to you about what we've got coming up this week before the Packers game.
Navigating the current housing market and figuring out your best move when it comes to a mortgage isn't your full-time job, but it's one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. That's where the experts at Jet Home Loans get into the game and coach you to your ultimate goal of getting not just the right loan, but the perfect loan for you, the home of your dreams. Jet Home Loans works with you all the way, from application to closing, making sure your game plan is perfect. Make the call to Jet Home Loans and let their team join your team to make your dreams take flight. Visit jethl.com.
Florida Blue presents game-changing health solutions. Did you know you can relieve stress by doing yoga at a Florida Blue center? And exhale. Treating yourself to Florida Blue discounts. Seeing a chiropractor covered by Florida Blue. Having your own Florida Blue health consultant.
Welcome.
Or cheering on your team right now. Discover more game-changing health solutions at FloridaBlue.com. Florida Blue is a trade name of Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Florida, Inc.
Are you ready for a taste bud touchdown? Well, Jags fans, if you're at the bank and craving a snack that's shell-shockingly good, look no further than Luray Peanut Company's boiled peanuts. Picture this, you in the stands, cheering on your Jaguars, and in one hand, a bag of piping hot boiled peanuts. With original or Cajun to choose from, they're so delicious, you'll wonder where they've been all your life. So grab them while they're hot and get back to the game. And as always, Duval. Luray boiled peanuts, where every nut is a winner.
When disaster strikes, trust the experts at Surf Pro. As a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they bring the same dedication and precision to restoring your property as the Jaguars do on the field. Whether it's water, fire, or storm damage, their highly trained professionals are on call 24/7 to make it like it never even happened. Surf Pro, your local leader in restoration and cleanup.
Looking for the perfect place to host a business trip, corporate group, or social gathering? Look no further than the award-winning Sheraton Jacksonville Hotel, proudly part of the Marriott family of hotels. Centrally located next to the St. John's Town Center off Gate Parkway in JTB, they offer everything you need, whether you're hosting a meeting or just unwinding with friends at the BC Grill and Patio. Discover comfort and convenience like never before. Search Sheraton Jacksonville or call 904-564-4772 today.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents in 50 United States and DC 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank NA, member FDIC.
Jags fans, if you want customized Jaguars furniture for your home, check out zipchair.com to browse all the customizable options. Zipchair is furniture for fans. Today's episode also brought to you by Florida Blue, proud to be the exclusive health insurance partner and support the Jacksonville community as the official community partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Bigsby inside the 15, the 10, and taken down. Bigsby again, he's rolling over defenders and gets it down to the goal.
Let's get it.
It is Bigsby again, and he gets into the end zone.
Let's go. Let's get it, boy. Yeah, see? That's what we do. They gonna know it, baby.
Tank Bigsby mic'd up against the Patriots. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. It's very entertaining. Head over to Jaguars.com or Jaguars YouTube. You can check that out. Tank mic'd up. And we're going to hear from Tank a little bit later in the week as well with you, John, right?
Yeah, and he'll be on the Ozone podcast. And frankly, a big topic is going to be how I stuck with him when other people on this show might not.
A little pat on the back. All right.
I stuck with him too.
Oh,
I was talking about talking about the 10 carry stretch in December where he averaged 6 yards a carry and said, don't give up on him. I don't think anybody on this show
Jags A.M was a very supportive program as
100%. Well, we can go back and pull the tape because we've got all of them. I, by the way, never get tired of watching Ezra Cleveland pushing him up the field.
That's what you want. Offensive line. Let's do it. I'm checking in with Brian Thomas Jr. going off the field this week, so I'm excited for that. And I'm just excited to kind of see what this week brings us in terms of preparation. And it's nice to have a victory week going into things. We will be back with you on Thursday morning. We'll dive deep into that matchup against the Packers, exactly what we can expect. So we'll see you tomorrow.